Okay, we'll call this meeting to order of the Citizen Review Board for October. It's 5:38 p.m. and we have a quorum. So I don't see anybody from the community here. Doesn't mean they won't come, but I do feel badly because, as we discussed, Mustafa does not have internet access. And he's pretty much the only one that comes to meetings, more or less, but it is what it is. Healthy is more important. So, there is one correction before we go further on the minutes and take a motion. There is one correction on the last page. Dana has Joe making a motion and seconding a motion. So, I did change it to Cliff making the second to return to public session. So that being said, I will take a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay,
So-
I will.
Second,
Second.
thank you. Any discussion on the minutes? You can't hear, Cliff? Can everybody else hear?
Yes.
Okay.
We see your lips moving, Cliff, but we don't hear you.
Well,
I vote yes.
Dan, you can hear us, right?
I can hear you, yeah.
You're on here twice, Dan.
I know.
We still can't see you, but I think Cliff went out and is hoping to come back in. I hope.
It's just as well that you can't see me, so
Okay.
Okay.
I don't
All right.
know how to get out of
Anybody opposed to the minutes? Okay, carried.
I'm just gonna abstain.
Okay. Cynthia, can you hear us?
I can hear.
Yeah, I know, Dan. Cynthia, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay. We do have the letter from Ryan to us and to the mayor and the chief and Kristen, talking about his research and decision on what Joe had brought up about us having a hearing on something that there is no complaint. In summary, we can't have a hearing, but there are certainly recommendations that could be made. We could have public meetings and solicit opinions from the public and then make recommendations to the chief. I hope everybody read the opinion. Are there any questions on the opinion itself? Because I think this goes beyond just the stopping on a pretext. It goes to anything that's going on with the police department that we think is improper. It's good to know that at least our attorney believes that we can make recommendations to correct those, and I think he's backed up his opinion pretty well. I guess the question is, where do we go from here? Anyone? Go.
Yeah. What I would propose, and what I would probably do in new business would be make a motion for this. But what I would propose is that we establish a select committee consisting of at least one appointee from the mayor, one appointee from councilor at large, one appointee from the district councilors, and that committee would be, and it wouldn't be exclusive to 3 people. It could be more if more people wanted to serve on that committee. But that committee would investigate the issue that was brought forth in the pretext stops and marijuana, using possession of marijuana to search a vehicle, even though those cases were no longer being prosecuted. And then after its investigation, returning to the full board with a report and a recommendation for how to proceed from there.
Okay. I think we heard you, Joe. So no, that sounds good. So if you want to, if you want to make the motion now, that's fine. We don't have to do it under new business. We can do it now.
Okay, I would make a motion to form the select committee that I just described.
Okay. Any second?
Second.
You. Any opposed?
Oh, isn't there a discussion?
We can have discussion. Yeah.
Oh, can I discuss for a minute?
All right, Jan. Don't discuss the issue of marijuana.
I'm not going,
Discuss the issue of a committee to look at it.
that's what I'm going to address.
Okay. Just wanted to point that out. All right. Go ahead.
Does this mean that every marijuana arrest is going to be reviewed by this committee?
I don't believe so. I think
Well,
that,
I mean, how else would you do it?
I think we're looking at the cases that have already been brought before us.
Oh,
Is that correct, Joe?
then
Yes.
how is it different?
Does that answer your question?
No. How
Okay.
is it different then? I mean, if we're only looking at the ones that are brought before
I
us,
think we're
why do
going
we
to
need
look
the
at the
committee?
issue in general, Dan, not a specific case.
In other words, we can review any case we want.
This committee would be to review specifically stops made with the intent of finding guns when you are looking for marijuana. Those cases that we have talked about in the past. If we
Okay,
choose
so
to,
then, let me
if we
change the
continue that
wording
committee
and
after,
say,
I'm sorry.
let me change the wording and say, in other words, this committee would review every case where a gun was found.
Wait, Dan, mute one of your devices. It's an echo.
Yeah, can you sign off one of them?
I know, I don't know how.
Renette, is there any way you can kick one of the Dans out?
No, it
Can you
doesn't
mute
appear.
one?
I
I
muted
don't know
one.
what this
Yeah,
means here.
I muted one.
What does move to stage mean?
Well, that appears to be the wrong one to mute. Hold on. Because now we're getting bad feedback.
How's that?
Yep, there you go. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Go ahead.
I'm concerned that,
No.
wow.
Sounds like we're in the Jake St. Joseph Amphitheater.
All right, Dan, try again.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
All right, can everybody else mute and see if that helps?
Sure.
Is this better? No, it's not.
Okay, just say what you got to say, Dan.
We'll work through it.
I guess I'm having trouble oh, geez. Never mind. I'll write an email to everybody.
Can I ask a question of clarification?
Sure.
So would this committee, select committee, only be as it relates to this particular issue? Or would this committee be the same committee if we hear about another issue as well?
I would make my motion so it would be tailored specifically to this particular issue alone. If other issues come up that need investigation, this could be used as a template for recreating another committee and investigating those issues. But I think it's best to keep the committee's focus narrow, and that way it doesn't lose track of what the issue is. That is before what we have been discussing about the pretext stops and charging of marijuana for the pretext of finding guns.
So could we state that there is a motion on the floor to have this particular select committee to, with regard to these pretext stops, but then in the future, a select committee could be discussed if there is another issue that is, that the board becomes aware of, so that we kind of don't.
I don't think that needs to be in the motion. I think the motion should be
Okay.
just as Joe
I
put it,
get-
specifically for this
get-
incident.
Yeah, I just want to try to make sure that we have something in concrete. And so I
I'll
think
word
it
it that
is
way.
yeah. Okay.
Dan?
Yes, Dan.
We have a duty to investigate those things which are sent to us. I think what this motion does is try to give us the power to go out and find our own investigation.
I disagree with that. We have a duty to investigate anything related to the Syracuse Police Department that is of concern with the community. And that is basically what Ryan's brief says, that as a board, we have a duty to look at anything that involves the Syracuse Police Department that is of a concern by the community. This particular situation here is just related to pretext stops. And he is stating that we can, in fact, hold public meetings to decide at that point in time what is, what, if anything, the board would recommend as a policy and training recommendation to the police department. Our legislation states that a formal investigation in terms of a complaint would not occur unless a complaint is signed. It never said that we didn't have the ability to look at issues related to the Syracuse Police Department and the community. It never said that.
Well,
Can I add to that?
go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
I think one of the distinctions that Councilor Susser made in there is that this type of investigation does not come with the power of subpoena. So we would not have those powers that we would otherwise have in hearings that come to us in the traditional way. Whereas a individual files a complaint, we do an investigation, decide if we have a hearing, etc. So there are different rules for these types of proceedings. We're going to be relying on the cooperation of others and for public information under FOIL instead of using subpoena power. And that was a clear distinction that Councilor Susser made in his memo.
Cynthia, you had something?
No, I'm what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read everything, and I'm gonna write an email and send it to everybody.
I'm gonna do that.
I'm voting against it right now.
Cynthia?
All right. And this my recommendation, because you can see that Dan is logged in twice, and that's why you have the echo. Is it possible, is it too much of an inconvenience for him to log out completely and then log back in?
He had trouble logging in originally, so I think that would be much.
I'm gonna try it. Why not?
You know, one thing, can I speak?
Sure.
I've been thinking is at some points, we have looked at all pretexts as perhaps not being good, because many of their stops are for pretexts. They sort of make up a traffic violation, as
Hard
an
to know if
excuse.
they've made up a traffic violation, though.
What?
It's hard to know if they've made up a traffic violation until they
I
You mean,
know.
give or don't
you
give a
mean
ticket.
are you talking about the probable cause to stop a vehicle, Ruth?
Yes.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
mean, I think there's a lot of pretext
Probably.
in that.
But I believe that we're talking about this particular
I
set of
know we are, but I
circumstances.
just think we should think ahead that we might
There
want
might
to.
be more later. You never
Yeah.
know. Dan, you're back. Try and talk so we can hear you.
Is this any better?
It's
Yes.
much
So
better. Thank
far.
you.
What a country. I love America.
Yes, is
You
the
got rid of.
technology wonderful? Okay,
Uh,
can we vote now?
what I'm trying to say here is we have enough trouble keeping up with the cases as they are. Why are we going to go out and find new ones just on our own?
Well, we
If
already
somebody
have.
has
We're not looking for more.
if somebody has a case, complaint, they should bring it to us. And that's what,
Well,
that's,
Dan, I think we know how you feel.
all right, fine, go
All
ahead.
right, so let's
Do what
take
you
a
gotta
vote.
do.
All those in favor of having this committee, please raise your hand or say aye.
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 Harry Hatisha May,
Aye.
Hatisha, you there?
I vote no.
I know. Does anybody else vote no? Cynthia votes no, Ruth votes no. Okay.
No, I vote yes.
Okay, let's try this again. All those in favor say aye.
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 All
Aye.
those opposed,
Aye.
all
Aye.
those opposed say no.
No.
Thank
No.
you.
So Cynthia and Dan vote no. Everybody else votes yes.
Correct.
So the motion is carried.
Correct. I will be reaching out. Send me an email if you're interested in being on the committee. Thank you. Hearings, we're catching up. I think we've got some scheduled. Correct, right?
Yes, we have some hearings scheduled. They are all scheduled for the most part virtually. We're trying to schedule one more by the end of the month. And that one needs to be in person. And we're pretty much going from there.
Okay. How many more do we need to schedule before do you think we're going to schedule before you go out?
I'm hoping to schedule the the two ones that we have subpoenas on, that are still outstanding. I hope to schedule those before we go out. I'm not sure how that's looking though.
Okay.
But as of right now, they're all going to be outside the 18-month time frame.
Okay.
Renette, Lori, when is your last day at work?
I was going to go over that during my report.
Okay, I can
It's
wait.
coming up in a minute.
Okay, I can wait.
Okay.
Okay. In regards to hearings, we have been going through all the cases that will expire during Rainette's maternity leave. The 18 months will be up during her maternity leave. If any cases come up during her maternity leave that are filed late because the person waited, obviously, to do it, and the 18 months will be up before Ray comes back. Virgil will be investigating those cases, and he will make a recommendation that will be reviewed by me, and then we will just determine whether there's going to be a hearing or not at our meetings. So that's the plan as we go forward. I think we'll be okay for the 12 weeks. I'm not looking forward to it as much as Raynette probably is. But we'll make it work. We do have the virtual executive session tonight to review 8 cases that hopefully all of you read. It was a lot of reading, so we'll talk about those later. And now, Raynette, your turn.
Okay, so activity report. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so activity report. I will let you know that today Virgil came to the office and I gave him 20 cases. We have received an extra $20,000 from the ARPA funding that would be utilized during my time out. Prior to that point, we had $10,000. So we have a total of $30,000 to be able to use at the, for this fiscal year as it relates to Virgil services. Some of those cases are outside of the 18 months, but they are cases that have case summaries and we need to get done. So that was our first plan of action, was to get those ones done and out the door. Some of them are 2021 cases, but the date of the incident was still 18 months past by the time that the person filed. But I think that that's a step in the right direction, and that will give him work to be done while we are still working together while I'm still here. My intended date to go out is November the 8th, right after our November meeting. We'll take care of what we need to take care of in terms of the letters and things of that nature. And then I don't plan to return until January 31st of 2022. That's 12 weeks straight. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As it relates to cases, we received 2 cases in the month of September for a total number of cases of 34 year to date, as you can see on your agenda. I just spoke about the budget and now speak about the backlog cases. So as you know, we had some backlog cases that were titled the 48. I have been going through those cases and I have been making memos to files. And those memos to files will give you a recommendation as to what I would recommend on those cases. I'm not going to write a case summary for all of those cases, as we don't have the documents that we receive from the department is not a case summary or anything of that nature. It's just police reports if they were available. Some of them did not have police reports available because the cases are sealed. So there would not be much that I could go on, but you can look at the police reports that we were able to receive and take a vote. So far, I've reviewed 8 of those cases. So I think that those 8 cases can be reviewed in December. And so the cases that Virgil has right now can be reviewed in January. And that January meeting before I come back. So I'm not saying he's going to have all 20 cases done by January, but he should have some. But at least we already know that we have at least 8 cases right now to review in December, the first month that I'm out. Okay. So I think that we are in a good position. I'll continue to review the rest of those and see if I can't see where we get through. But I also want to talk about the fact that we have outstanding FOIL requests. One FOIL request is for every finding letter that we ever wrote on a substantiated case needs to be provided over there to the law department. We just got a FOIL request related to some matters that they want information from June of 2020 through June 21st of 2021. We are responding to that particular FOIL request. So it just really all depends on how much we can get done before I leave. in terms of how many cases I get to during that time. But at least I want you guys to be able to review at least some of those 48 cases while I'm out based upon my recommendation already. Some of them, we do have interviews with complainants because those cases were from 2017, 2018. So you'll be able to see notes from me and you'll be able to see whatever the department has provided in those cases. So I think that we will be okay. Um,
Okay. I think that just so everybody knows, one of the things that Renette and I have talked about in the last couple of weeks has been the fact that, again, the police department has a lot of people doing investigations, and we have Renette and Virgil. I don't think that the council really knows what Renette does. So I've asked her to keep a notebook of all these things in addition to investigations that she does, so that the next time we go to the council and ask for more staff, we have some real solid information on why it's needed, in addition to the fact that we have one and they have five. Apparently that wasn't a good enough argument for them, so I think they need to understand what she does on a day-to-day basis and the fact that her life does not consist of solely doing investigations.
I also want to point out too, we had a discovery demand to come in as well, which if you don't know, a discovery demand is when there is a litigation action against the city of Syracuse with regard to a notice of claim, and they have to produce documents to opposing counsel in the court. So we have to assist them with providing copies of our documents for them. So depending on how many officers are involved in the lawsuit and things of that nature, we have to pull that information to provide them with copies of our records as it relates to those particular officers and any complaints. Sometimes it's a time period. Sometimes it's like any complaint, any, substantiated complaint. Sometimes it's any complaint. So it all depends. Also, the AG's office is still continuing to do their investigation into the Syracuse Police Department. So anytime they require something additional, we have to provide that as well. I am hoping that we do not have to respond to any of those while I'm out for the 12 weeks, but there is no guarantee. So when that particular situation occurs, then Lori and Roberto will reach out to the law department. Usually the FOIL requests come through the law department anyways, and discovery demands go through that way. But then they provide a time frame for which the responses need to be made. Like this most recent FOIL response, we need to get it to them by the end of December. So Roberto and I need to work on that before I go out, so that when it's, we can try to provide it prior to, because anything that gets provided has to be redacted by the law department before it goes out to protect the complainant and any witness information from being released. So we have to give them a little bit of time as well. So we will work on those things before I get ready to go out.
Renette, may I have a question?
Yes.
Is Lori able to step right in and pick up where you may have started or haven't had an opportunity to start? If you swept up by alias or anything, is Lori and Cliff, are they up to date in the know about what's what?
So in terms of the 48 cases, Lori and I have had conversations with regard to them. I do have handwritten notes that I have on those particular cases and what was received and whether or not I thought that we would be taking that case to a hearing or not. And so she would have that if in fact something should occur and I'm not able to finish the memos to file before I go out. In terms of the day-to-day operations, Lori has been kept abreast as to that, and Cliff has and you know what I mean, been made aware of that as well from past experience coming down to the office prior to this point. So not a lot has really changed as to our day-to-day procedure other than making sure things get scanned in and times and date stamped to make sure that we have that kind of going on. But in terms of an investigation, a full investigation, I think that's the reason why we have Virgil.
Oh, for Christ's sakes.
And Lori can contact me if you need me for anything pertaining to the review board as far as cases are concerned.
Yep.
And in terms of investigations, I think that's the reason why we have allocated that amount of money to Virgil so he can do a complete investigation. And Lori and Cliff will just have to review his investigation.
And that was going to be my part 2 of the question. Lori and Cliff, is your schedule, is your agenda clear to step in if the board needs you?
My agenda is clear. For citizen review board business, is a priority. That's why I'm on the board. So I've made it perfectly clear, you know, that I'm gonna be available as needed for citizen review board business, 100%. So when Lori calls me to perform my duties as the vice chair, I will be more than glad to step up and comply with whatever she needs me to step in and do, to include coming to the office and going over cases and hearings as well.
Okay, and Dan is on twice again. I don't know why, but I'm gonna mute myself.
Tony.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. There's not been a whole lot of community outreach. For those of you
I have some reports.
Oh, you do? Okay, Cliff, go ahead.
Yes. So, as far as community outreach, I did attend the Westcott Festival.
Okay.
We did not table, but I did take citizen review board information to the Westcott Festival and pass that information out to the patrons at the festival.
Thank you.
And also I have begun the Syracuse Police Department Citizens Academy training.
Very good.
So I'm in the process right now. We're in the 3rd week of that training. And you know, it's real interesting. I got a chance to meet the what is his name? The ops officer.
Lieutenant Izzo, Sergeant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I got a chance to meet him and
her.
I meant to say, well, this gentleman, this was a gentleman that I met from internal.
There's 3 sergeants in there. There's Sergeant Dominic. There is Sergeant
Rio or Kerry.
There is Sergeant Dominic Carleo.
Right.
And there is Sergeant Leonard.
One of them, I can't call his name right now, but I did get a chance to meet him and, you know, get insight as to what their process is as far as the Citizens Review Board. Matter of fact, hold on 1 second. I'll tell you his name right now.
Can everybody hear?
I want to say Lieutenant Steve Abbott, but I don't think that's him.
No, Abbott is the lieutenant that is on the mall detail. He may
Yeah, yeah, that's
the
right.
lieutenant for the mall security or the SPD that's present at the mall.
Okay, I can't think of the guy's name right now, but in any event, I did,
When did it
attend that
start?
training, and it started on the 20th, September 20th.
Okay.
How many people are doing it, Cliff?
We have about I want to say we have about a good 10 people.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
is
we
it
have about
virtual?
a good about 10. Nope, it's in person. Yep, it's in person, and we're meeting at the Syracuse Police Department in the same area where we met for the first training.
Huh.
And we went over. They took us on a tour. I wasn't there for the first week, but they took the citizens on a tour of the public safety building for the first week. Then the second week, they introduced different officers pertaining to the work that they do, and the third week was Abbott, who works on the mental health aspects, and the other one who works for the Renee, what is it? The
The Office of Professional Standards.
Office of Professional Standards. Thank you. I had it. I couldn't get it out, but I meant that one of the officers from the Office of Professional Standards.
When's the next one, Cliff?
training. The next one is, hold on, I'll tell you 1 second.
I knew they were going to try to do it on a smaller scale this time due to COVID restrictions.
Our next one is on October 10th, and it will be Mark Russin. He will be going over body cams, person in crisis. Sergeant Abbott will be returning with a presentation.
Cliff, the 10th is a Sunday.
No, the 11th, I said.
Thank you.
I'd have been what you meant, but that's not what you said.
Did I say the 10th?
You did.
I was said October 10th is my son's birthday.
Okay, well, I meant to say the 11th.
Okay.
That's okay.
All right, and then we have a date of the 18th, 25th, November 1st, November 8th. Will conclude.
Can you send that to me in an email?
Sure, absolutely, absolutely.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything on outreach?
That's it for me.
Okay. Anybody else have anything on outreach? Okay. Board development and training. Now we're back to being down 3 people or 2 people.
As you know that we're looking to have new people coming on the board beginning in January. So it made more sense, since we were going to have that many of a turnover, to hold off on training and bring training to the beginning of the year, in hopes that we would be able to train those who are going to be starting with us on January 1st. So that is what the plan is as of right now. We are working again to get that $5,000 from the Department of Justice. It has basically been okayed, and they will be having a meeting sometime this month as it relates to that. So hopefully, it'll be at a time where I can attend and just basically acknowledge the fact that we do need that $5,000 to cover training, so we can have professional trainers. But in terms of all the stuff we've previously discussed with regard to board development and training, that stuff still stands.
Renette, who has that meeting about the the money? Is it the council or SPD?
It's the council. They would have to agree to accept the Department of
Donation.
Justice's money
Okay.
and that particular amount and allocate the amount to the CRB, which would be written in the legislation.
Okay.
Just as part of it.
All right. Would Capanis be the one that puts that on the agenda?
No, it would still fall under it would fall under Chol, as
Okay.
as one of the agenda items. So that would be something that we need to make sure we look at is the upcoming Common Council agendas and see if we have anything on them while I'm out.
Government relations.
So I met with the committee that is assigned to be the kind of oversight committee of all things as it relates to reform. We met the other week and went over several things. We went over the new contract agreement that the SROs have with the school district. We also went over some of the data that was released, and we also went over which had to do with the right to know. We also talked about the Office of Professional Standards dashboard that's being created. We talked about early warning triggers, the Voyance app usage, the body worn camera policy, and I think it's on number 3 revision and should be pretty solid right now. And also the diversionary response, which has to do with persons in crisis. So all of those updates, I usually try to send you the link for the reform website so you can see all of the information that is being put out there on that particular site. So please, ma'am, please, sir, please look at those kind of things as it relates to that. And then I know that probably isn't part of government relations, but I want to still recommend again that you watch the WCNY program that has been coming on every night at 9 o'clock. You can also use that link to review it if you missed it, but it is important as a board that reviews SPD's policies and procedures to look at that. So I would encourage you to look at that. We have an upcoming meeting on October the 12th as it relates to the change agents and the reform, and there will be several different people in the room, and we'll still continue this conversation. It is my intention to be present at the time of that meeting, and it's October the 12th. And I'll be in the room with a bunch of other community members and things of that nature. I was interviewed as it relates to the WCNY program. I don't know if I'll be on tonight or tomorrow, but just stay tuned and see how we did.
Okay.
Yeah, I was interviewed as well for that documentary.
Good.
Okay. And then if we want to go to
Well, I just wanted to touch on one other thing, right? We had talked about trying to set up one of those meetings with the entire public safety committee. Is there any way we can do that before you go out, or is that really pushing it?
That would most likely be pushing it.
Okay.
But we can try to see if we can. But I know they've had a lot going on with regard to the right to know data and just some other things, trying to get things done with regard to this ARPA funding. And things of that nature. So I'm not sure, but I will put it on my to-do list to see if we can get that done.
Okay, and then we're gonna skip public police relations because that meeting was prior to the last meeting. We met in the afternoon and then we discussed it at the meeting that evening.
Okay.
It was in the minutes from the last meeting. So, new business, I guess one of the things, I know there's no public comment, so, we did, we did speak with, Counselor Carney about him appointing someone to take Dana's place prior to January 1st. He has somebody that he thinks will be interested, and he's working. I don't know if they've called you or not, right? But he was going to have them call Renette. And we also sent names to the mayor of the people that we had recommended prior. So hopefully, he has not reached out to me. I don't know if he's reached out to Ray.
I haven't received anything from Carney or the mayor's office as of yet for their new appointments before the end of the year.
But at least we reached out. I mean, we did what we could do, and hopefully soon. Anybody else have anything for new business?
No?
Okay, I'll take a motion to go to executive session.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay.
Stop recording, Ray.
Mm.